All right, people, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Real Tough Talk. Next game of the day we want to get into is Don't Sleep versus UTF. Now, the thing we'll talk about is the two quarterbacks. This is Jeremy and his UTF team coming back to defend their title. Had a little bit of losses. They lost. The main one I should say being was the fact that they lose Dirt, one of their captains. He goes to DG, but the main one is Randy, the reigning defensive player of the year. He leaves to also go to DG. But they bring in a draft pick in Akon. They also bring in Yomi. They also bring in former rookie of the year, Twan. They also bring in Juice, an all-star Ja. So they bring in some new pieces to this team to go with Buto, Kaka, and the rest of the bunch. What do you think about the team coming into this season, the defending champs? Jeremy coming away with the not only coming away with winning the A player for $1,000, but comes in with being the Johnny Rockstar player of the year for Heart and Determination.
He proved it, and why they end up winning the championship. He came in this team and he put himself in position. Whatever he needed to do to help this team win, he did. He played ball giver. He played the quarterback. He made decisions on the sideline. He kept everybody in composure. Even though they were struggling in the beginning of the season, he found a way to put it all together in the playoffs and make it happen for them to win the championship. This guy, there's so much that you can say about him, but one thing you could say is the word heart and determination. Those are two words that you have to give to Jeremy. That's one thing. I don't care if you hate him. I don't care if you love him. The point is, these two things is what Jeremy is all about when it comes to the game. You also got to mention Mamba, who was Jeremy's biggest downfield guy. You know, when he was looking to go downfield, Mamba was the guy going downfield for him. You have G, who was pretty much a guy who nobody's getting through him to get to the quarterback. So you have him to add that extra protection. And Yomi is a guy who does just that as well, and is a capable tight end who can give Jeremy an extra option in the middle. So there's so many things that this team is capable of doing that they already were able to do. They just made themselves a little bit better.
And I'm also going to remember to throw in Dev, a guy who had a big kick return in the season, a guy who's definitely a big-time player who said he wants to show more, as it seemed also wait for they got waiting for their guy Mestre to come back off of injury. And let's not forget their championship MVP in Kaka. He calls himself Sauce now. I don't know what that's about. More like a meta word piece, but that's what he's going with. On the other side, we got Don't Sleep. Don't Sleep comes in with their rookie quarterback, Mick. Mind you, their quarterback they went with last year was Reem. Reem didn't have a great season, but he took him to the second round. But they went now. Mick is their starting quarterback. Their number one draft pick was Prince Mo. Unfortunately, he's not going to be here. But their second round pick is going to be here. Rico coming up with a disappointing season playing with the Gators. Now he's with a team that you can consider elite. And they add Rob is back with this team. You also know that they got Shaq, the reigning blocker of the year. So this team has a lot of weapons. I think it all comes down to their quarterback, Mick.
And we question the decision that Don't Sleep made when they decided to let Mick start. But my thing is, are we saying that he's not a capable quarterback that can get it done? That's not what we're saying. We're saying the same thing that we said about Rep City's Tommy, who struggled when he first made his debut in the league. It's all about how you acclimate to this particular league. And that's what we're looking forward to seeing, because they have all of the playmakers. They added AB from Super Friends, that who's also a player that he's a ball giver, can put pressure on the quarterback, and is also a capable receiver who can make some plays for the quarterback as well. So they made a lot of decent pickups for this team, especially Rico, the best inside the five guy, to help Mick's game. All it's up to Mick is to perform and to use these guys the best way he can.
Let's not forget their reigning all-star MVP and Mike at the safety position.
Yes.
All right, we're going to jump right into the game with Don't Sleep getting the ball. Mick on 4 rush, throws to Mike, cutting in the middle for a decent game, picking up the first down. Second out at the 25-yard line, Mick throws deep to Rico, who has a step on Brown, caught in the back of the end zone, but steps out during the catch, incomplete. Rico showing the capability of going downfield, similar to what he did in YMM's early days in the league. Definitely showing he's capable of doing it, but just steps out of bounds. Third down, Mick with blocking from AB, throws Mike in the middle of the end zone for the touchdown. Two defenders get caught watching Mick, and he's up 6-6. Mick gets called for cursing, but I understand it. He got questioned in the offseason, got questioned why he didn't go with Corey in the drive. He got nothing but questions, and he was finally able to put an answer on those questions by scoring early, 6-0, don't sleep.
When Mick first came on the field, he gave me a handshake and he gave me a look. He said, "What's good, Ghost?" And he gave me a look. And he stared at me for a couple seconds. That means he's trying to make a statement in this game. And I am all for it. And he's able to score right off the gate in his first drive. This is him using his players the way he's supposed to. He could have got that touchdown with Rico, but he's showing that he's capable of moving the ball, and he's able to start the scoring early with his first drive here.
All right. Jeremy and this UCF offense gets the ball back, but they're going to go 4 out here. First down, Jeremy on 4 rush. Runs in the gap for a decent game, get them to the 10. Jeremy is one of the most elusive players in this league. He knows how to dodge tags, makes a big play there. Third down, Jeremy blocking from G. Throws it in the back of the end zone, incomplete. Nobody's open. That's going to take us a 4th down. Jeremy throws a beat throw in the back of the end zone, high, incomplete. Turnover on downs. Don't Sleep is able to make the stop. Jeremy looks a little rusty, and he gets stopped on his first drive.
And this is them not being able to come together in that first drive. Jeremy was inaccurate on that pass right there to Pito. You have G, even though he gave him some protection, he wasn't able to get it to Ed on that play. So things did not work out on this drive. But one thing that you can say is consistent is that Jeremy is able to move the ball with his feet. And that's something that they're going to need moving forward. Even though they wasn't successful in this drive, that's something they're going to need in the next one.
Don't See gets the ball back. Mick on first down, on 4 rush. Throws the AB in the middle, runs for a decent game. Second down, Mick is blitzed by Puto. Rolls right, throws Rico in the gap, knocked away by Jeremy. Too much air under the ball. We've seen Jeremy doing it on the defensive side of the ball. Sometimes we don't like him playing defense as he's playing the quarterback position, but at the end of the day, he's still a capable defender. Coming away with a big play there. Third down, Mick with blocker from AB. Throws Rico cutting in the gap. Knocked away by Kaka. If you look here, Mike is open short. Don't Sleep is going to have to punt. I think Mick got caught up with a little more anxiety. I think he tried to do a little too much and did pretty much nothing. And they're going to have to punt, giving the ball back to UTF.
And after that first score, the defense of this UTF team is starting to put more pressure. They're starting to tighten up on the defenders. So Mick has to make tighter throws, and he has to stretch the field a little bit more. They saw that he wasn't accurate going downfield to Rico. He ends up throwing a pass out of bounds. So now they're testing him. They're stepping up. They're staying close. They're clogging the gaps, and they are forcing Mick to either make accurate throws or stretch the field. And that's something that he did not do on this drive, and it leads to them punting.
UTF once again gets the ball on the 4 out. Jeremy on 4 rush, throws the only open in the gap, who runs for a nice game. Listen, this guy has found the fountain of youth, and he gives Jeremy another weapon other than just going down to the Mamba. Great play there, find Yomi. Second and goal, Jeremy, a blocker from Yomi and G, finds Ed open in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. Stevie gets the extra point, 7-6. If you look here, Mike steps up in front of the end zone, leaves left Ed open in the back, and Jeremy finds him. Ed is coming from that shark scene last year, definitely a capable receiver. Definitely gets another weapon to this team, and Jeremy finds it for the touchdown.
And this is just lack of communication on defense. Guys got to talk with each other. They got to know who's in the backfield, who's going to drop back, who's going to cover. Because obviously you see Mike here isolated here, guarding the front, but there's nobody there. Why? Because the person he's supposed to be watching is in the back of the end zone. So because there's lack of communication here, Mike does not know that he has to step back and step back to guard Ed there. And the defense leaves Ed wide open, and Jeremy's able to find him here.
First down, AB blocking Lou, but Mick is still sacked by Nunu. They seem, like you said, they're stepping up and forcing Mick to make plays. They're bringing the pressure. They come away with a big sack. Third down, Mick on 4 rush, throws a Ruben in the middle. The pass is going to be blocked by Lou as he's rushing in. Incomplete. If you look here, Joel is open in the gap. Fourth down, Mick at the 45-yard line, throws it Joel in the gap. That's going to be dropped. Turnover on downs. And right now, Don't Sleep is stopped. Back-to-back possessions. Listen, this is not the formula. You score once, and now it looks like that was a fluke because then you get stopped twice in a row. Not looking good. This team has learned to step up for Mick, and because Mick is not able to stretch the field, not only because he doesn't have the most arm strength in the world, he doesn't have his number one draft pick in Prince Mo to be able to stretch the field. And that's what UTF is kind of banking on, and then force them to get stopped. Jeremy gets the ball back. First down, Jeremy on forward, gets by AB, runs in the gap for a nice gain near the 20-yard line. I call Jeremy Josh Allen. Big arm, can run, and has swagger. He uses his legs here. Big game by Jeremy there. Second down, Jeremy throws the beat on the sideline, getting him to the 3-yard line. Third and goal, Jeremy finds Yomi in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. Main intercepts the extra point, but Yomi is going to get the score. 13-6, they take the lead. Listen, people forget that Yomi is a multiple-time All-Star. When he went to grind time, they used him more as a blocker, but he was with that Violators MVR team, and he shows the capability of playing offense. Well, that's what they got him here for, and he makes a big catch. Jeremy finds him in the end zone for the touchdown, gives them the 13-6 lead.
And this is Jeremy, like I said, using his feet and using his receivers in the gaps to keep moving the ball. And this Don't Sleep team is not having any answers for it as Jeremy starts to get in his rhythm. He's starting to get in his rhythm. He's starting to connect with his receivers. And Don't Sleep have to respond. Unfortunately, their offense is struggling right now. So if you give Jeremy opportunity to run away with this game, that's exactly what he's going to do. And he's already starting to do that right here.
Don't Sleep can't score before the half. That's going to take us into halftime. 13-6, UTF.
With all that's happening to Don't Sleep right now, this is still a close game. All they need is one score and then right back in it. But they got to make sure that they put more pressure on Jeremy. Jeremy, whenever guys come in, Jeremy's able to take off and run. So he's not really under pressure because he's still able to move the ball. He's comfortable running. He's comfortable scrambling. He's comfortable throwing the ball with protection from G. They have to find a way to mix up the scheme, catch him by surprise, maybe a blitz from the sideline. They have to find a way to put pressure on Jeremy. Otherwise, he's going to run away with this game. He already scored, I believe, 2 touchdowns in a row. And if you keep him in this rhythm, it's going to be hard to come back knowing that your team is not necessarily doing it that well on offense.
All right, real quick. If I'm UTF, I like the fact that Jeremy got hot after the first possession. Scored twice, and I love the fact that we're bringing the defense up because we're not worrying about them going downfield. We're going to keep the pressure on Mick, bringing the pressure up. If I'm on the other side, if I'm Don't Sleep, first of all, I think Maine is doing a mistake by putting Rob at the giver position. Rob needs to be playing linebacker. I don't need him battling and going back and forth with G because they know which way Rob is coming in. Rob is going forward. If you put Rob in the middle, he takes away them intermediate passes. He can cover and blitz. That's what I think they need to do in the second half. And also, we got to find a way to get Rico and Joel the ball in space. We got Shaq here to block. We got AB that brings muscle. We got Rob. We got to find a way to get the ball in space because Mick doesn't have a downfield threat. So without that, I need somebody that can create space. Joel and Rico are 2 of the best guys who make people miss and can get yards after the catch. We're going to jump into the second half. After getting the first down, Jeremy throws in the gap for a decent game. Third down, Jeremy throws a Dev cutting in the gap for a decent game, getting to the 5-yard line. Listen, Dev is a guy that gets lost in the mix of Mamba and the rest of these guys on his offense. He's definitely a guy that can help this offense propel itself back to championship status, and it's good to see Jeremy getting them involved. Fourth and goal with blocker from G. Jeremy finds Ed for the touchdown in the front of the end zone. Juice gets the extra point. 20-6, they take a 2-touchdown lead. If you look here, Chris leaves the sideline. I don't know why. You're always told not to leave the sideline. Chris always talk about how much of an underrated defender he is. Well, you don't show value when you get beat on the one responsibility you have, and that's to stay on the sideline. He leaves it. Jeremy finds their new addition, Ed, to his offense firepower. I think this is Ed's second touchdown in the game. 20-6, UTF.
And this is not looking good because this is yet another touchdown. This is, I believe, 3 touchdowns in a row that Jeremy was able to score, counting the first 2 in the first half. So right here, this mistake here is it's unacceptable. That's one thing that a cornerback should never do, leave the sideline. I understand that sometimes they want to play man and lock up here, but as soon as you leave that space there, the quarterback is going to send a receiver to fill that gap, and that's easy touchdown there. That's exactly what they do. And you know Ed is one person that's dangerous in those gaps, and Jeremy's able to find him for another touchdown right here.
Don't Sleep gets the ball back. After getting the first down, Mick throws deep to Joel in the gap, overthrown and incomplete. Second down, Mick on 4 rush scrambles and throws to Joel, covered in the gap, incomplete. Third down, Mick is blitzed by Buto, who's blocked by Shaq, but still sacked by Lou. Don't Sleep is going to have to punt. They are bringing the pressure. You got to give it to Buto. I know we sometimes say, at times they say he could be erratic. They say he could be a lost cause. He then changes his whole identity, and he's just not, he's seeking missile. He's a strategist, and he's strategizing to bring the pressure in and to bring the pressure in forward to Mick, and they're stopping him. Mick has now been stopped 4 times in a row, and this is not what Don't Sleep thought when they decided to go with him and not drive Corey, and they're going to have to put alert, alert, alert. We got a problem, Houston. All right, Jeremy gets the ball back on 4 rush. He's going to run in the gap for a decent game. Third down, Jeremy's blitzed by Shaq, who's blocked by Ja. Those are Juice in the middle for a decent game. Fourth down, Jeremy on 4 rush. Those feet though open on the sideline, caught for a big game and the first down. If you look here, Mark is guarding nobody in the gap. And listen, Pito's one of the original guys from UTF, showing his value, showing he's not just there because he's just on the team. He's capable of making plays, and Jeremy is able to find him downfield for a huge game. Jeremy then on 4 rush just gets the ball off to throw the Juice in the middle, picked off by Mark, who runs it all the way to the 10-yard line. And this official, listen, this should have been a touchdown. The tag was missed, but that rep, Jay Brown, missed the play. That is a horrible call by him. He's supposed to be a veteran, has to get better, and he cost Don't Sleep 6 points. I never like to say an official can determine a game, but he did with this play. Has to get better, has to hustle on that, has to be sure of a whistle. I think he got caught assuming assuming that the guy was going to be tagged, and that was more of just a bad call by Jay. Definitely bad on him, but great play by Mark to step up. Remember, Mark was guarding nobody on the last play, but you got to ask yourself, was he baiting Jeremy? And he does say, I also think the pressure by Rob brought in the pressure that forced Jeremy to make the pick. Interception there, big play by this defense.
But then there was another question here. There was questioning whether Rob rushed in early to put pressure on Jeremy in the first place. So if you look at this play, if you look at this play, Rob lines up right on the line. He runs right on the line, and as you see 4 rush come, he's already starting to run forward. He doesn't pass the line yet, but it's simultaneous. Bang, bang. Right as the ref says 4, he's already rushing the quarterback. Listen, he timed it right. He got right on the line, and he was able to just get in on 4 rush, catching Jeremy off guard, making him rush that throw. That's great defense overall. Rob putting the pressure on, and Mark making the interception, and them putting their offense back on the field with great field position.
Man, it's what I like about this next play. Third down, after 2 short passes, Mick finds Ruben in front of the end zone for the touchdown, 20-12. Don't Sleep Khan's back in the game. You know what I like about that? Even though the official made a mistake, Mick took the challenge and came on the field and scored within 3 plays. I like that. That is what Mick needs to do. He didn't look for any excuses. He didn't go crazy. He brought his offense out and scored right away. Similar to the confidence we saw in the beginning of the game when he threw a touchdown pass. The confidence is there. We just need to see more consistency Great way to find Ruben in the front of the end zone for the touchdown.
And my thing is, even when the pressure of winning the game is on, Mick is able to finally get it into the end zone. So that shows that you can't count him out. When you put him in good field position, he's able to score. And that's all on the defense making plays, and that's exactly what they did. They're going to need more of that because Jeremy, but all up until this part of the game, was doing very well, and that's something that they're going to need to see more of. Don't sleep as their time is running out here.
UTF gets the ball back to go 4-0. First down, Jeremy throws deep to Juice in the gap, who runs it into the end zone for the touchdown. Stevie gets the extra point, and right now the score is 27-12. If you look here, the safety left the side, leaving Juice open. And this is the big thing. We didn't really talk about Mamba. We talked about Juice. We talked about Ed. We talked about Yomi. All new additions to the team. And Jeremy's able to find Juice. Listen, Juice must be one of the most underrated, talented players in TFL. And he's going to have to continue to make his mark. He does it here, and Jeremy finds him to give them back a 2-score lead. Mick gets the ball back. On first down, Mick on 4 rush with blocker from Shaq. Makes the throw in the guy. Picked off by Butho. End of the game. UTF comes away with the win, 27-12.
And listen, we opened the game talking about, hey, is Mick going to be able to acclimate himself into this game? Is he going to struggle? Is he the right quarterback for this team? And all of that. Right now, that's not the question I'm asking. The question I'm asking is, for this particular game, is what happened to Don't Sleep's defense? That's the question I have to ask here, because they gave up 4 touchdowns in this game. 2 that they, a couple that they didn't need to give. And one thing I could say is German was comfortable the majority of the game. Yes, he took some shots in the pocket, but he was still able to make some accurate throws despite getting some hits by Rob. If you look here, he gets hit here, right off the throw. He gets hit here, right off the throw. And he's still able to stay comfortable and make plays in the pocket. That's because the receivers have enough space for Jeremy to make these passes. If you're not locked onto these receivers and taking away the space from them, no matter what pressure you put on the quarterback, he's going to be able to make these plays. And that's exactly what what's been happening throughout the game. And Jeremy was looking comfortable in the game. They made a couple stops, but it wasn't enough to slow Jeremy down, and he's able to beat them with a 2-touchdown lead here.
See, you talked about what happened with Don't Sleep's defense.
Yes.
Don't Sleep wasn't a very good defense last year.
And that's
they were ninth in defense and 13th in efficiency. So they gave up the 9th most points out of 14 teams. But in efficiency, meaning the amount of time the team had the ball, they gave up the most scores. So they may not have gave up the most points, but given the amount of opportunity that the offense had to score, they gave up the most percentage on that. So this is not a very good defense.
Yeah.
Now, yes, you upgraded by going to get Prince Mo. Prince Mo wasn't here, and I understand that. But it takes more than that. Maine is supposed to be a defensive mastermind, correct? That's all we heard. Maine knows defense. Maine knows this. Maine could do that. Once again, I scream bull jive because they gave up 27
That's your new
points.
word.
27 points they gave up. And they got people playing out of position. I said in the beginning of the game, I do not want Rob at the giver position. You're wasting his talent. He is not Damo. That's not what he does. He's not just full pedal to the metal. The guy is athletic. He's agile. That's what I'm saying. And he covers, he takes a lot of space in the middle, and he can blitz. He solves your middle problem if you put him in the middle. And then what you do, you put AB at his natural position, which is the giver position. Another guy with power. That brings the pressure in right there. So that is one of my issues. Don't Sleep last year, real quick, was 4th in sacks. So if you're 4th in sacks, then you sit down and you make the adjustments necessary to bring the pressure.
But my thing is this. You say that, AB could have been one to help him, but on certain plays, he was the giver in those plays, and Jeremy was still able to beat him.
He needs to
So-
stay at the giver, and then you let Rob play.
So
the
you're
middle.
saying, so I just want to see what you're saying, because I might agree with you. You're saying that they made too many switch ups back and forth. They
I
need to be
agree.
consistent and have specific guys play specific roles and keep them there throughout the game. Don't make no
Correct.
switches in the middle of the game because it throws everything out. Now, on that, I agree with you. But at the end of the day, one thing you got to give Jeremy credit for, he is probably the most elusive quarterback in this league right now. He was last season, and he's continuing that this season. So they got to understand that, yes, at the end of the day, they didn't put enough pressure. I guess it could be that they were scared to get through G. I don't know what it is, but because they didn't put enough pressure on Jeremy, that's why they were able to put up so many points. So at the end of the day, their defense needs to be the ones to work hard at improving, because I'm not going to be the one to beat up Mick every week and say, oh, Mick got to do this, Mick got to do that. Remember when we was talking about KC when he was in 99? And we said all he has to do is manage the time and score 2 touchdowns, and he puts his team in position to win. That's exactly what Mick did. He didn't play perfect, but he gave them the 2 touchdowns that they needed. Unfortunately, the defense gave twice as much. So that's my focus on the defense.
I don't know if we were watching the same game. Mick Gabe was 1 for 4 in the first half.
Yes.
With a punt, and he was 1 for 3 in the second half with a punt and an interception. And the touchdown he scored in the second half was off of an interception.
Okay.
If the Bucs don't blow that call, they score based on not what Mick did. Mick scored with the ball within the 10-yard line. I could call my daughter, and in 4 plays, she can possibly score 1. So let's not give this guy all these flowers.
I disagree, but okay.
Mick, who's a rookie, debut was 2 of 7. That's what it was, with 2 punts and an interception. Don't sit down and say, I'm not going to get on him. He knew this was going to be
I'm not saying I'm not.
He saw what they did. He had no opportunity to go downfield. He was not accurate, and he has to figure this league out. Do I think he'll get better? Well, he can't get much worse. Do I like his energy? I do, and I like his swag that he showed you in the beginning of the game, that he showed on the first drive. I do like that. But he needs to figure out this league, or else he's going to have a lot of pain. On the other side, UTF showed that they upgraded. Was Mamba here? No, he was a decoy. And he's okay with that because you added Juice, you added Ed, who had touchdowns. You added Yomi, who had touchdowns. We've seen Jeremy run the ball. So at the end of the day, we've seen an offense get better. That's what they did. They added people and got better. Twan had a knockdown on 2 on defense. This team upgraded their team, and they still have to be a favorite to get back to the championship. And on the defensive side of the ball, I'm not going to say they were great, more than I'm going to say Don't Sleep's offense was bad. Now, they were missing the former offensive player of the year, who they drafted in the first round, who is a champion. So we have to remain to be seen, but right now, UTF looks like the ideal team to defend their title. And they're going to come away with the win, 27-12. And we're going to have breaking news. We're going to look right here as the UFL board has come away and given this statement. You see on the screen, as UCF's starting quarterback, Jeremy has been suspended for the next game. If you look as a detail, he got into a verbal altercation with the owner of Them Getters in Hollywood. And as you see the statement from the UFL, they're not going to tolerate that. They're coming strict, iron sword. And as you saw, they have people that they suspended for the season. So the league is now playing, and Jeremy put himself at risk. So as you see, he's suspended the next game, which they'll be playing Rep City, who's a tough team. And they're not going to have their quarterback. Jeremy is better than this. But I seen at time he puts his team in bad positions based on his emotion. And the thing about UFL, you have to be able to control your emotions. He didn't. You know, I spoke to sources in the league that say he was apologetic. He felt bad. He felt bad and embarrassed in the position in the league that he did, the statement that he said. But he said a gesture on the groin area, We're not going to get into too much detail. You can pretty much fill in the blank and know what he said. What is your personal thoughts on the league suspending Jeremy for his next game?
I mean, it needs to be done because these are things that we said that we're going to be strict on. And that's why we got to be consistent, because we can't. Because my thing is, we don't like giving suspensions. We don't like to do any of these things. We want to see these guys play because football is pretty much a comfort. Pretty much, football is a way to get away from stress and all of that. So to take away that from someone is something that we don't enjoy. But at the end of the day, we got to make sure that everybody respects each other on the field, that everybody's not, speaking to each other all willy-nilly, because then it's going to cause altercations that don't need to happen on the field. It's going to take things out of football, and we don't want that. So that's why we got to stay strict. We got to stay controlled, and hopefully all the players understand that. We're not doing it in no way that favors one person over the other. We just got to be consistent overall, and that's why this decision was made.
I think, like I said, Jeremy's is a guy that he's entertaining. And I think he's not only robbing himself or his team, he's robbing fans of watching him play. Teams are coming to see him. UCF play Rep City. Now they're not going to have an opportunity to see Jeremy, which means they might not see Jeremy play Rep City until the playoffs. That's a stain on his resume. And Jeremy has lost awards based on his mouth, saying things disrespectful. Now the kid was on full attendance, meaning full perfect attitude last year because he won the Heart and Determination Award. So to follow it up with this, I know he's going through a lot with the passing of Nelson, a lot, and it's understanding, but it's not an excuse. And the leagues are going to start taking his football away. This kid is too talented, and he put his team in a bad position on their next game. So I'm very disappointed. I think the league did a great job. And now he has to be on notice, because if he do something again, I'm hearing the league is going to be even more harsh with their punishment. So he's on notice right now, and I think he put his team in a bad position. But shout to the UFL, shout to the owner Tim, and the rest of his staff, because at the end of the day, it sends the message that is not going to be tolerated on this field, in this league. And I think it's something for everybody to know that it can happen to anybody. So as you heard here, Jeremy, we showed the statement, will be suspended for the next game versus Rep City. We're going to wrap this one up. UTF winning this game, 27-12. We'll be right back.